There's an interesting article in Newsmax, the 5 top supplements for fighting aging. And I find this topic to be very interesting, not because I'm like afraid to age, but simply because a good way to avoid disease is to avoid aging, let's face it. And many of the very same nutrients that you can use to avoid chronic health conditions are the same ones you can use to avoid aging. So let's talk about the 5 top supplements to fight aging. But before we do, I'm Dr. Nick Zarowski, and welcome to the channel. Be sure to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell. Otherwise, you'll never know when new health videos come out. So hit that notification bell in order to get my full library of natural health videos. If you're serious about improving your health naturally, go to www.drzee.tv, and that is where the transformation begins. Now let's dive into these supplements. I find this article very interesting simply because I recently did an article on how to avoid aging. Now, they are talking simply about supplements here. I talked about some lifestyle changes, which I'll go ahead and mention in here. Now, go ahead and put in the comments below. You know I love chatting with you all, so put in the comments below what are your favorite methods to implement to stop aging? Is it more focused on supplements? Is it more focused on just general lifestyle like exercise and that kind of thing? Or is it focused on diet? What are you doing? Is there anything that you're doing? Let me know in the comments below. Let's see what you're up to. Now, let's go into this. You may not find the fountain of youth, but you can slow down the hands of times by taking the right supplements. Let's go ahead and dive in. The first one is curcumin. Now, curcumin is great. Actually, I take curcumin for a couple reasons. And one of the reasons is because it's great for inflammation. And like I said before, the same nutrients that help stop chronic diseases also, in many cases, stop the aging process. Now, curcumin is incredible at stopping inflammation. And me personally, I've taken my genetics test, and one of the things I do for people all the time is we focus on something called genomics, nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics is looking at nutrition and how it pertains to your genetics, and also looking at your genetics and the health conditions that you're prone to, and looking at how you can use nutrition to avoid these very diseases. Well, it just happens to be that I am prone to a couple really nasty inflammatory diseases, and curcumin is one of the best things that you can take in order to lower inflammation in the body. So this is really good. I'm a big fan of it. I actually take it regularly. It's in my supplement packets, curcumin, and I take a very active form. It's very important to understand that when it comes to curcumin, you have to take it in a very particular way, because a lot of people think, well, yeah, I put some turmeric in my dishes, and that's how I make sure that I keep my curcumin up. But the fact is that you hardly absorb any of that. When you look at it in supplement form, where it's very bioavailable, you're typically going to see it go through a process like micronization. Then you're going to see it combined with black pepper extract, and this is how you're really going to absorb it and get some use out of it. Whereas like a lot of the supplements on the market that you'll see of curcumin are just totally junk. Unfortunately, you're going to take them. It's not going to do anything for you. And if you think that you're going to get it from just eating turmeric, well, you would have to sit there and eat bowls of turmeric a day in order to get anywhere with it. So curcumin for the win. And I'll put links to the resources that I personally use for these, like whether it's curcumin or some of these other ones I'm talking about. I'll put it in the description below so you can check them out. And hey, if you decide to click on it and get any of them, it helps support this channel. So curcumin is one of them, okay? And then the next is EGCG. Now, this is a polyphenol concentrate in green tea, okay? The whole point of it is that it helps the cells cleanse away toxins. This isn't that exciting for me. Quite frankly, I wouldn't have put it in this article if it were me writing it. However, this is what they thought was pretty important. So a single cup of green tea has 50 to 100 milligrams of this EGCG. Now, I think that green tea is really good and really beneficial. However, I wouldn't put this particular nutrient at the top of my list. Instead, I'll tell you what I would put here. I would put glutathione. I think glutathione would be far more important because it's one of the most powerful antioxidants in the body. And if you're really concerned about aging, you want to keep that antioxidant activity up in the body. So I'm going to go with glutathione and kick this out. By the way, drink some green tea. It's really good for you. Has a lot of benefits, whether it's, burning fat off the body, boosting your metabolism, whatever, has a lot of benefits, lots of antioxidants in it, but I just don't think it's that relevant in terms of you getting anti-aging benefits. It's just going to be pretty low on the list. Now, let's go ahead and go to coenzyme Q10. Now, this one's pretty important. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of the different cardiovascular medications out there deplete you of CoQ10, and if you're on these medications, you best be taking a CoQ10. So for instance, if you're on like a cholesterol medication, if you're on any type of statin, they deplete you of CoQ10, which increases your risk of having cardiovascular related events. So according to this article, the recommendation is that you take at least 100 milligrams daily. If you are on statin drugs, you may want to increase that amount because your body stops making CoQ10 when you're on the medication, as I just mentioned. So this is pretty important. I actually have some of the elderly people that I work with. They're taking upwards of 200 milligrams a day, daily. And this is the other thing that you have to understand too, is that there's two forms of it. There's the inactive form and then there's the active form. And the thing is that you want to do as you age is you want to take the active form because your body has a harder time taking the inactive form as you age. You start to lose the ability to do this. Take the inactive form and make it active, okay? And so we have to make sure that we're taking the right form, the active form, so that we can truly get the benefit that it has to offer. So coenzyme Q10, I'm a fan of it. I think that it's a good anti-aging supplement to take. Once again, I'll put all the links down below because you want to make sure you're getting the stuff that's bioavailable, active, and you want to make sure that you're getting the right amount of it. Now, omega-3 fatty acids, look, this is always a great thing to take. I mean, when we look at omega-3s, they help reduce inflammation, they support your brain health and your heart health. I mean, there's so many good benefits that come from this, your overall neurological health. This is something that I supplement with daily. This is something that I find to be very important. And in fact, I learned that I actually have a little bit of harder time going and breaking down these fats and being able to absorb them well. That's what I learned from my genetics test. And by the way, when I talk about some of these things like nutrigenomics, if you're interested in any of that, you can always reach out to us over at New Vision Health Center, and we can lead you down the right path to be able to get these same tests and check this stuff out because it's very useful to your overall health. And we can help you get these tests ordered, and then I myself or one of the certified nutritionists that works with me will go over it with you. Next on the list is calcium. Once again, not that exciting. Calcium is not that exciting in the way of an anti-aging supplement. Look, I get it. They want you to increase your bone density. It's got benefits, no doubt about it, but pretty low on the list, okay? Now, next is going to be resveratrol. Now, resveratrol is one that I love, and resveratrol is highly researched to help turn and proven to turn back the time on your genetics. They have actually done many different research studies on mice, and what they found is that you could take a mouse that's turning gray and really old looking, and they were able to basically increase aging in some of these mice by working them hard, making them run, not giving them a good quality diet, and all of a sudden the mouse starts getting gray hair and it starts to look really old and unhealthy, and then all of a sudden they take it and they give it resveratrol, and bam, that mouse reverts back to a very healthy, age-appropriate health for that mouse, reverts back to that. So very cool. And so they're finding that it's very, very powerful for reversing a lot of aging. So fight aging from the inside out by adding in resveratrol, a compound found in red wine, red fruits, and peanuts to your daily diet. Resveratrol may promote longevity by activating genes called sirtuins, says Galvin. Now, this doesn't mean you can drink red wine and not age, but resveratrol is very effective. So here's the thing. If you're going to get resveratrol, don't go drink a whole bunch of red wine thinking that that's how you're going to get it. Maybe that's one of the great benefits that wine does have to offer you. However, you really need to be supplementing with it in order to get the benefits that it has to offer. Some research suggests taking upwards of 1 gram a day, but here's the thing too, just like I talked about that curcumin, resveratrol, it's very important to make sure that you're getting a very bioactive form. Otherwise, you just can't absorb it well. Same thing, going through getting resveratrol that's gone through a micronized process that's highly bioavailable is very, very useful. And just like any supplementation, it's all about the quality. It's all about the bioavailability. It doesn't matter if it's vitamin D or the omegas we're talking about. A lot of these different nutrients are finding that you can absorb more and take less of it if you're taking it in a good, healthy, quality form from a good quality supplement. Okay, so resveratrol, curcumin, all these very good. And I'll put links to all the ones that I use personally down below. Now, the other things that I mentioned in my video that they didn't mention here, and hey, I'm not picking on them. They're talking about supplements. I talked about other things that you could do. And what I mentioned is that for one, you should exercise. Very important to exercise daily. This is a big part of staying young and not aging. The other thing that I mentioned was reducing stress at all costs, because chronic stress on the body, there's nothing that ages your body like chronic stress. You got to avoid that stuff. And then the other thing that I, of course, mentioned was follow a good, healthy diet, because it's incredibly important. So do all these things, take these supplements, and that's how you can avoid aging. And more importantly, you can avoid a lot of diseases, because here's the thing, is it's not about the quantity of life alone. It's also about the quality of your life, because nobody wants to age and be, 80 years old and have a million health issues, be taking a whole bunch of medications. All you do is spend all your days going from doctor's appointments to doctor's appointments. You don't want to do that in your 50s. You don't want to do that in your 60s, your 70s. And some people are doing it in those age ranges. Those are supposed to be your golden years where you enjoy life, right? So make sure you're doing the right things in order to preserve for you the opportunity to enjoy those days of your life. So check out my other videos on the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.